What the Golden State Warriors have been doing recently goes far beyond just shuffling lineups or testing strategies. It's a calculated, deliberate move that signals something deeper within the organization. Removing a player from the rotation altogether, especially one with potential and past contributions, is never a decision made lightly. But in this case, it's beginning to look like more than just a coaching call for the short term. This might be one of the smartest tactical moves the coaching staff has made in recent memory, and it could shape the future of the team heading into the postseason and beyond. Back when the Warriors first faced this opponent earlier in the season, they managed to pull off a strong win. But it was also clear that the battle was going to be uphill. The opposing team brought youth, speed, and length, an explosive combination that challenges even the most seasoned rosters. That game served as a blueprint, not just for the matchup, but for what would be needed to advance in the postseason. Even then, it became evident that the coaching staff had to make tough calls, and one of those was limiting the role of this particular player. It wasn't about numbers or highlight plays. It was about trust and reliability in a high-stakes environment. Now, naturally, one loss here and there doesn't tell the whole story. This is the NBA, and even the best teams take a less. But when a pattern starts to form, that's when eyebrows go up. And right now, the pattern is that this player, once viewed as a core piece of the future, is consistently being left out. We're now talking about 3 consecutive games without a single minute of action, not even garbage time. And that shift isn't going unnoticed in the Bay Area. Local coverage has started to echo what fans have been wondering. Is this the end of the road for him with the Warriors? What adds even more fuel to this fire is the recent acquisition of another player, someone who's brought a new dynamic to the team. This newcomer hasn't just filled a gap. He's changed the energy, the pace, and the entire flow of how the Warriors operate on both ends of the floor. And suddenly, the sideline player is starting to look like a luxury item the team no longer needs. That's a harsh reality in professional sports, but it's also a sign of a well-run franchise. You have to be willing to pivot when the opportunity presents itself. Let's not forget, this bench player is still someone capable of putting up between 15 and 20 points per night. He's had flashes of brilliance. He's had stretches where he looked like a future star. And against this very playoff opponent, his regular season numbers were solid. 21 points per game, nearly 7 rebounds, and a few assists sprinkled in. Those are respectable stats by any measure. But it's crucial to point out that those performances came at a different point in the season. Back then, the team was thinner, and he had more freedom to operate. He was logging over 30 minutes a night in some of those early contests, mainly because the Warriors had no one else who could reliably create off the dribble. But that was before the roster changed, before the trade, before Jimmy Butler. Since Butler's arrival, everything has shifted. The offense has a new rhythm. The defense has more bite. The rotations are tighter, more deliberate. And this particular player, despite his raw talent, just hasn't been able to mesh with the new identity of the team. His minutes dwindled. His role became unclear. And the trust from the coaching staff slowly eroded. We saw it in the game against the Rockets, a team that demands perimeter defense and high IQ rotations. Kuminga, once thought to be the answer for exactly those challenges, was glued to the bench. And the message couldn't be clearer. The coach no longer sees him as a fit, at least not right now. Looking at his play since returning from an ankle injury in mid-March, there's been a clear drop-off. Not just in numbers, but in impact. It's not enough to be available. You have to influence the game. And lately, that hasn't been happening. Part of the issue is chemistry, particularly with Butler. On paper, their games should complement each other. In practice, it's been anything but smooth. The team actually performed better in a short stretch when Butler was playing and Kuminga was still out. The spacing looked cleaner, the rotations crisper, the defensive switches sharper. Even when Butler had to exit early due to back tightness, the team held strong. That says a lot about where things stand. Since Kuminga's return, the Warriors have had a few wins, sure, but also some exposed weaknesses. The loss to Denver, for instance, highlighted how much the team struggles against quick, athletic wings. Ironically, a category Kuminga is supposed to thrive in. But it's no longer about potential. It's about execution. And right now, he's not delivering what the team needs most. When both players are on the floor, the numbers tell a brutal truth. Jimmy Butler's net rating sits at an outstanding 10.2, with an offensive rating of 120 and a defensive rating of 110. That's the kind of balance you want in a playoff series. Meanwhile, when Kuminga plays, the net rating drops significantly to just 4.5. That's a massive difference, especially in games where a handful of possessions can swing the outcome. It's a difference the coaching staff can't ignore. And that's the heart of the coach's decision. This isn't personal. It's not about punishing a player. It's about putting the best version of this team on the court every night. Kuminga is someone who thrives with the ball in his hands, but his inconsistent mid-range jumper and his declining three-point accuracy, down to just 17% since returning, have made him a liability in a system that revolves around perimeter shooting and quick decision-making. In a team like the Warriors, where ball movement and floor spacing are everything, you simply can't afford to have a guy out there who hesitates or bricks open threes. Especially not in April. Especially not in the playoffs. Other guys have stepped up. Yeis Santos, for example, has quietly become a dependable option, hitting nearly 50% from deep over the past few weeks. That kind of production earns trust. It earns minutes. And it's the standard now. So while Kuminga might still be one of the most naturally gifted players on the roster, that doesn't mean he fits into this version of the Warriors. It takes guts to bench a player with his ceiling, but also takes vision. And if there's one thing the coaching staff has proven over the years, through 4 championships and more than 100 playoff wins, it's that they understand the moment. They understand what's needed. And right now, that means keeping Kuminga on the bench until the situation demands otherwise. The reality is, Kuminga may still play a key role in this series. That possibility is not off the table. In fact, one of his own teammates offered a revealing quote not long ago, something that gives us a glimpse into the mindset inside the locker room. He said Kuminga's contributions will be valuable, that he's been working hard behind the scenes, and that sometimes all a player can do is stay ready. That's the mentality being asked of him right now. Stay focused. Stay locked in. Because opportunities can come in a flash, especially in the playoffs where injuries, foul trouble, or matchup shifts can open the door at any moment. The challenge for Kuminga isn't just physical, it's mental. He needs to maintain a level of sharpness that allows him to jump back in without hesitation when called upon. And that's not easy when you're watching from the sidelines, especially after being on the verge of a major contract extension just a few months ago. There's a certain psychological toll that comes with that fall, from a rising star to a healthy scratch in 3 straight postseason games. But the best players find a way to turn those moments into motivation. That's what separates pros from just potential. One of the key voices in the Warriors front office even suggested that Kuminga could still be an important piece for the matchup at hand. Specifically, he highlighted how Kuminga's defensive tools, his wingspan, lateral speed, and athleticism, might prove useful against the opponent's younger, more explosive wings. It's clear there's still belief in what Kuminga can bring, but the decision ultimately rests with the head coach. And right now, his priority is putting the most effective 5-man units on the floor, the ones that grind out stops, make the smart pass, and stretch the floor offensively. And here's where the frustration bubbles up for fans. There's no question Kuminga has upside. He's had nights where he looked like the second coming of a two-way force, someone who could dominate the game on both ends. But those flashes haven't turned into consistency, and that's what the playoffs demand. One missed rotation, one sloppy turnover, and momentum can shift in the blink of an eye. That's the kind of risk the coaching staff is trying to avoid. It's not about punishing Kuminga. It's about protecting the team's chances at advancing. There's also something deeper going on here, something that's harder to measure than just numbers. Some within the organization believe Kuminga struggles with feeling like he fully belongs. That uncertainty, that self-doubt, can creep into his game and show up in the worst ways. Hesitating on open looks, forcing drives, or checking out mentally after a mistake. When he's locked in, he's dangerous. But when his confidence wavers, the mistakes become contagious. That's why the coaching staff is emphasizing mental readiness. They know the physical tools are there. They know the numbers from earlier in the season. But this isn't October or November. It's win or go home time. So where does this all leave Kuminga? He's not out of the picture. He's not being written off. But right now, the Warriors are leaning on players who execute the details. The ones who don't need the ball to be effective. The ones who cut hard, rotate correctly, box out without being asked, and knock down open shots. This is the formula the team is betting on. And unless something dramatic changes, Kuminga's role will remain limited to spot duty, at least for now. This could change in an instant. An injury, a blowout, a tactical shift. There's always a scenario where Kuminga becomes necessary again. But until then, the message is clear. You earn your minutes by doing the little things right. That's what playoff basketball is. It's not about who's got the highest vertical or the best mixtape. It's about who makes winning plays when it matters most. The coaching staff, for all the criticism they receive, have proven time and time again that they understand what that means. They've guided this team to 4 championships. They won over 100 playoff games. They know what they're doing. That doesn't mean every decision is perfect. That doesn't mean Kuminga's development has gone exactly according to plan. But in this moment, with this roster, and against this opponent, the Warriors are doing what they believe gives them the best chance to win. And maybe, just maybe, this moment on the sidelines will fuel something in Kuminga that the team hasn't seen before. Maybe this is the fire he needs to take that next step, not just as an athlete, but as a competitor. Because when his number is called again, the lights will be brighter, the pressure will be higher, and the stakes will be real. And that's when we'll truly find out what he's made of. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Fred VanVleet, never one to shy away from a little competitive fire, stirred the NBA pot once again by taking a subtle, yet unmistakable, jab at the Golden State Warriors. During a recent appearance on a podcast, the Houston Rockets guard reflected on the state of today's league and, in particular, the legacy of some of its most dominant teams. While he didn't mention them by name at first, it quickly became clear who he was referring to. I mean, a lot of teams played cute basketball, VanVleet said with a sly grin. They made a lot of threes, danced around, celebrated before the shot, even went in, but when it came time to fight, to actually grind through a series, some of them weren't built for that. It didn't take long for fans and media to connect the dots. The Golden State Warriors, with their era-defining run of championships, flash, and finesse, became the obvious target of his comments. While Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green build a dynasty on a foundation of beautiful ball movement and perimeter shooting, critics have long debated how their style would hold up in more physical, grinded-out eras. VanVleet's remarks reignited that conversation. Though the Rockets aren't yet championship contenders, VanVleet's words carry weight. He's a former NBA champion himself, having helped lead the Toronto Raptors to their 2019 Finals victory, ironically, over the very same Warriors. That final series was marked by injuries to Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson, but VanVleet was instrumental nonetheless, hounding Curry defensively and hitting clutch shots throughout. Whether his latest comments were a calculated move to fuel his young Rockets team or just a personal reflection, the NBA community took notice. Golden State fans weren't too pleased, and social media quickly lit up with debates. Some saw it as disrespectful to a team that changed the game. Others saw truth in his words. That skill must be matched by toughness. As the Warriors face questions about the future of their core and the Rockets continue their rebuild, VanVleet may have just planted the seed for a spicy new rivalry. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.